All right, let's dive into one of the most powerful stories ever told. We're talking about family, jealousy, and two incredible dreams that would completely define a young man's destiny.
I mean, just think about that question for a second. It's really at the heart of Joseph's entire journey. Because, these weren't just any old dreams. Nope. These were visions that started a chain reaction, one that would literally change the course of history.
So just picture it, a young Joseph sharing this, his first dream, with his older brothers. The image is pretty simple, right? It's agricultural. But the meaning, it's impossible to miss. His sheaf of grain, representing him, stands up tall while all of theirs bow down. It's a crystal clear vision of his future, and you can bet his brothers noticed.
And just when they thought it couldn't get any worse, boom, the second dream hits. This time it goes from the fields of Earth straight to the cosmos, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars, symbolizing his parents and all his brothers, bowing down to him. The scale of this thing just went from big to, well, cosmic, and there was no way anyone could ignore it.
So, why two dreams? Was God just being repetitive? Not at all. The fact that the dream repeated was actually a huge message in and of itself. It was a sign of divine certainty.
And this is where it gets really interesting. In the biblical worldview, a dream that's doubled is basically God's way of underlining the message, bolding it, putting it in all caps. It meant this vision wasn't some random fantasy or a fluke. It was a guarantee. The thing was established, and you can be sure it was going to happen.
Okay, so now that we know these dreams are the real deal, let's break down the symbolism, because every single piece of these visions was packed with prophetic meaning. The connection between the prophecy and how it all played out is just incredible. Those sheaves of grain, not a random detail, they pointed directly to Joseph's future job, managing Egypt's entire food supply during a terrible famine. And the sun, moon, and stars, that showed the massive cosmic scope of the authority God was giving him. Now here's the crucial part. It is so easy to look at Joseph and think, wow, what a boastful teenager. But the text is pointing us in a different direction. We're meant to see him as a messenger, someone who is simply reporting the divine messages he was given. He wasn't talking about his own ambition, he was talking about his calling. This verse really frames the whole story perfectly. Joseph's dreams weren't just about him. They were a peek into God's unshakable, eternal plan. A plan that crosses generations and, can't be stopped by human drama. But while the plan was divine, the reaction to it was all too human. These dreams didn't inspire awe in his brothers. Oh no, they lit a firestorm of jealousy that would almost get Joseph killed. Man, you can just feel the resentment dripping off these words. You think you're gonna reign over us? Their hatred wasn't just for their little brother, it was aimed right at the very idea of God's plan, a plan that put Joseph in charge. Joseph's story doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It's actually the climax of this tragic theme that runs all through the book of Genesis. From Cain and Abel to Jacob and Esau, sibling rivalry is this constant destructive force, and it's almost always tangled up with God's divine plan. This proverb just perfectly captures the spiritual sickness that took over Joseph's brothers. Envy wasn't just a bad mood for them. It was a deep corrosion, a rottenness of the bones that pushed them to plot against their own family.
So what can we pull from all this? I mean, this is an ancient story, but its insights are absolutely timeless. They offer a powerful way to think about our own lives, our own purpose, and the opposition we face. This story really gives us a blueprint for trusting a divine plan. First, it tells us to expect opposition. A big purpose is going to face resistance. Second, trust the outcome. No amount of scheming could stop what was meant to be. And finally, you have to embrace the timing. The road from that dream to the throne was long, it was painful, but it all happened exactly when it was supposed to. This powerful line from Isaiah is like the ultimate exclamation point on that lesson. It reinforces that core truth. God's purposes win. His counsel will stand no matter what gets thrown in the way. And that really brings us to the final thought. Joseph held on to his purpose through slavery, false accusations, and prison. His story forces us to look in the mirror and ask, when our own purpose gets tested, when things get hard and delayed, where do we find the strength to keep believing that the vision is still established by God?